This is the acid drip. Hey guys, Keenan from the Acid Drip again. Thanks for watching. Okay, what's going on here? I am now I'm another like 20, 30 hours into the project. Because I was at about 70 hours or so, a little bit more than 70 hours in the last update. So I'm like probably like closer to 100 hours total, 30 hours maybe in the last few weeks since I think it was October 24th is when I did the last update. Okay, so what's going on here? All right, for starters, I kind of want to explain what I've got here, this thing, because I'm going to take this off in a second and kind of like show you how I do everything. But for starters, this is my little triangle. Very sophisticated technology, has holes in it. This is the advent of our technology and the culmination of our society. Modern man. So yeah, this thing right here, straight edge. Okay. What I've been doing, I taped down this guy, and it's a cork ruler, but I actually put the cork side face up. And the reason for that is the cork raises this silver ruler off of the board, and it's a no slip ruler, which is like great when I'm drafting with a pencil because, you know, I can extend the lead a little bit and I can drag it across, boom, no problem. Okay, but when working with basically like a compass, or not a compass, excuse me, a triangle like this, I can't have any space between the actual paper itself and the ruler. And the reason is because if I face this down and lay this down on here like I am, and you can see how it's lining up. If I line it up to here, it actually slides under the ruler and hits that cork. And one, that eventually wears out the cork underneath, and two, the cork underneath isn't really level. I mean, it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. But this edge on this ruler is like totally level and like 100% true. So what I did was I taped it like this, and I just basically dragged this across, and that's how I created all of these vertical lines going across here and made sure that they were true. There's a few that are a teeny bit skewed because at first I didn't actually have this ruler taped down. I was just using the bottom edge where I had marked a line with a ruler when I was first outlining like the actual size of this piece. I had marked that out, and I was using that same edge. And the problem with that was after I basically filled in the bottom area, it was harder and harder to see it and be sure that I was following it truly, like that I was lining it up properly. And I realized I had a few skewed lines. So I was kind of like going back and correcting some stuff. And that's kind of where I came up with this ruler idea. I don't actually need this anymore, so like I'm literally going to take this off in front of you guys. But I had this on here for the last 2 weeks where I was just double checking pretty much all my lines and making sure that everything was fine. So now that I've taken that off, I can actually lift this up. So like in the other videos, like I was lifting this up and holding it in front of you, I didn't have the ruler on there. I was doing it the other way, and now I've come to the realization, you know, every time I do something like this, I'm just going to tape the ruler down because it just makes it easier. But now what you can see is that everything is filled in. There's literally like no landscape that is not filled in, and that's a really big deal. Yeah, that was a ton of work. Oh crap! That was not supposed to happen. I'm gonna edit that out. I probably won't end up editing that out, and then somebody will see that and think, wow, Keenan's an idiot. He almost dropped his painting. Okay, so what I was trying to do was bring it kind of like over here, like so. Cool, here we go. I'm gonna start pointing things out. So what's going on is like there's a little bit more development in this area where like it's not that I literally developed this area more, it's just that like I look at this area and I know that it's more in depth in terms of the painting quality because like literally speaking there's just a higher resolution of detail here. I still have some things to tweak and like work out over here, like a few, I have to make the things up here a little bit darker. That's something I'm realizing in hindsight, so I'm gonna go over everything with another wash. But like by comparison, I look at this area and it's already like darker than the background, which is good. That brings this more into the foreground, and I'm gonna keep working on editing it like that. Just gotta make sure this doesn't bump the mic. So this whole area in the front will get a little bit darker, and this area right here will have a little bit more resolution of detail. So you can see I was kind of doing a little bit more over here and here in that, and I've started to develop that. Also, I made the fire bridge, which is more interesting, I think, now that it actually is very red and you can see like the dimension of the bridge. That was another big step forward, was getting the fire bridge done, getting all of this landscape filled, getting all of the mountains rendered. There is no white space on any of these mountains. Before, this little chunk right here, I forgot about it, and then there was everything over here. There was this whole mountain, and then this big thing right here was a big old white space. That's done. So pretty much everything that needs color has, almost all that stuff has gotten colored. Pretty much everything that needs color has gotten color. The main thing I have to do next in terms of color, and it's pretty obvious, is obviously the tower itself. Geez, this is big and awkward. That's what she said. Oh, geez, I'm going to get in trouble for that one. Anyway, let me see if I can get this into view for this. Okay. So the next thing that I have to get is all of this vortex space in here. God, I am awkward on camera. I'm just fidgeting around. I can't hold the damn thing still. Geez, I need a cameraman. All right. There we go. I think that's the best way to do it. So I need this whole area filled in up in here. I need the tower filled in. These white streaks, which you can barely see, are going to be gray. There's a little tiny speck of white down here. That thing is going to get filled in. Obviously, this island chunk that's right here in the middle of the waterfall is going to get filled in a little bit more. There's some preliminary color there, but there needs to be a lot more work. This one needs to get worked on. All of the water needs a ton of work. The sky is going to pretty much stay the same. But yeah, there's also a little bit more of story development in this, and the real payoff of that, and I'm going to wrap this up because it's getting dark and it's getting hard to see what's going on. Here's the little man I talked about before, right? So he crosses the bridge. There'll be a little man over here, but right here, this little black speck that you can barely see that I am pointing your attention to, which you probably think isn't even there, but it's really there. This little black speck is a boat, and this little black speck right here is also a boat. You can't see it because it's incredibly small, but I guarantee you they're there. So the idea is that there's going to be this sort of like implied journey that like you leave the cave, you go across the bridge, you get to this boat, you can get to this island, but look, there's already a boat there, which means somebody is at the island where the tower thing, the flesh tower thing is. So I'm thinking that I will draw, when this is all said and done and over with, I'll get out the little micron and I'll draw little people crawling across the tower, like a little person at the apex of the tower touching, you know, touching the vortex, touching the vortex. If I could, I would pick your nose right now. So yeah, there'll be a little guy right here, kind of like reaching up and touching the vortex kind of deal. I don't know, something like that. So that it's like, here's this journey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stages. You know, I don't know, some kind of axis mundi, kind of like tower of enlightenment thing. It's what the client described, you know, like a beckoning tower of enlightenment of flesh melting out of the mountains and going into a vortex in the sky. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll do that, sure. Okay, like, I don't know, not too hard to figure it out. So I think the way to make it more friendly is to have like a person there, you know, or maybe I'll have like a little person standing at the base of the mountain looking up at it. I don't know. That's like a little detail that I'm like coming up with that I'll throw in at the end. But there'll be little Easter eggs. Now that I'm actually at the point where like pretty much all the colors laid down, I have to do some work on the clouds and the vortex, of course. But now that all the cliffside colors are laid down, I'm going to start putting in little messages, and I'm going to be writing like tons and tons of little messages in the shadows of these cliff sides. So you'll be able to look at the cliffside and you'll see words hidden in there. Lots of little messages and, you know, subliminal, manipulative, brainwashing stuff, you know. I don't know. I'll put stuff in there that's funny and stuff that's cool. I don't know. You know, something crazy, you know. I don't know. Anyway, I just gotta like get some more work done on this, but like it's been a marathon. October is over with, and I mean obviously it's over with, but now I'm entering November. I have a challenge I'm gonna do for my guitar practice. My November challenge is going to be 102 hours in 34 days, because 3 hours a day would require 33 days for 99 hours. So it's like basically I could do like 32 days at 3 hours, and then the 33rd day would be, you know, 4 hours or something. But I'm just going to spread it out and just make it 34 days. Ugh, 102 hours. Kind of brutal, but that's the goal. So I really want to wrap this up because I'm looking at a December 15th recording date. I have to confirm that, but that's what it's looking like, which means that if I'm starting on the 15th, or if I'm going in the 15th to record, the latest I can start would be November 11th, which is exactly 1 week. Not 1 week. It's next Saturday. When I sent the email for the reservation, it was exactly 1 week from Saturday, but it's like it's already Monday, you know, like the week is passing. That's one thing I've noticed in my life, is that time is moving very quickly. It's good and bad, good and bad. You know, worked today, had like the 4 hours of sleep, not quite 4.5, like 4 hours and 15 minutes of sleep. You know, just kind of like deliriously like slogging through life. It reminds me of this thing that Bill Kelleher said, you know, about trying to be a professional guitarist and stuff and being in a band. He's like, you can't be a weekend warrior. You have to do it every day. And for the longest time, I felt intimidated by that, because it's like, oh, I'm not really doing that, you know, with my art or my music. But my goal isn't really art or music or even my writing. It's really the synthesis of the three. And to be perfectly honest with you, I do what Bill Kelleher describes. I do it a little bit differently though. Instead of doing one thing every single day with just bloody fucking miserable intensity and focus, and I mean miserable because you have to make it into work. And you know, I wouldn't want these things that I'm passionate for to feel like work. The fact that these things that I do are difficult, but they don't feel like work. Like when I worked at, say, Starbucks, or when I worked at PetSmart wiping up dog piss and shit, you know, cleaning up other people's messes, getting yelled at by customers. That was work. This is difficult, it's challenging, it's bloody fucking frustrating, but it doesn't feel like work. I'm actually kind of relieved. Teaching is difficult and it requires me to get up and go, but that also doesn't feel like work. And I'm grateful for that. That's why even when I have like 4 hours of sleep or 4 hours and 15 minutes of sleep, I can still get up and do this crap. So I'm going to do my challenge. I'm going to try and wrap this up, and I'm going to talk to SF Lightworks, and I'm going to see if I can interview them and talk to them a little bit and like include them into this process. Like I really want to do like a studio day at SF Lightworks. I'm going to go call them up, or what am I saying? Not Lightworks. SF Light Source, excuse me. SF Light Source, not Lightworks, Light Source. I'm going to call them up though in advance and do like a studio day where I talk to maybe the owner for like 10 minutes on camera and then, you know, show what they do in their studio, because I really want to show what they do. They do great stuff. I really want to be like, hey, you know, if you're looking to do what I do, here's where you go, you know, because like the ultimate goal is to not only make this, but to also show you like, hey, you can do this too. And like, here's how you go through all the processes of the steps and the stuff of making it. Yeah, I'm an English teacher, soon to be educating small children on how to express themselves and such. Yep. Oh man, future of America is in my hands. Woo, these hands. These hands, I would be picking your nose right now if I could. These booger-coated hands. Anyway, point is, I want to show you guys that you can do it too. So I'll be talking to Lightworks, or Light Source. Oh my God, Light Source. I'll be talking to SF Light Source, and then I will be talking to Mega Solutions shortly thereafter about the whole print run and how they do it and everything. I want to go into the Mega Solutions print shop and kind of like, you know, film them making them. Like, here they are coming off the press. Goddamn, you can see the damn thing get printed. You know, like I'm gonna sit there and you'll see them print. They come out on these big ass sheets and then they cut them. They block cut them with this press. Boom. It's a hydraulic press. It's the coolest thing ever. Blade comes down, boom, presses straight through. Cuts 100 of them perfectly clean. It's brilliant, you know. So I want to come in and get all of that, show you everything, like how it's photographed, how they do all of it, and really like get into that side of the production, because like, yeah, you know, maybe you can make a painting and maybe you can find somebody who's interested in that painting, but how do you make it into a poster? Like, how do you make it into an actual tangible product? So that's going to be coming up soon. The next art update is going to be probably this thing finished. Like I'm probably not going to do another art update until this damn thing is done, because like I'm so close to having it done. That's just it. That's like the next thing to do, is just kill it off and be like, it's done. So after that, it'll be the production, the post-production work, which is like the digital work. And you'll see that next, and it's not as complicated as it sounds, but you do have to know a few specific things to do it right. And I will do my best to point you in the right direction. All right, I've ranted for like way too long. Thanks for watching. Go home, pick your nose, study, I don't know. This is the acid drip! Ah, what am I doing with my life?